211 is a tool for union members, members of UFCW Local 832, but it's a tool that can be used by anybody in their community, anywhere in Manitoba. Well, we know that knowing where to go to find help can be overwhelming for a lot of folks. And so the primary goal of 211 is to connect people, be they workers, community members, union members, friends, family, anybody with existing government, social, and health resources in their community. So 211 Manitoba's phone service is really the bread and butter of what's available. And what's great about the phone service is it's as simple as picking up the phone and dialing 211. And callers often get through within a matter of seconds. There's usually little to no wait time after calling 211. The top caller needs that we hear about are health. That makes up about 16% of folks who call, and that can be accessing healthcare facilities, knowing where to go for medical needs. Food and meals is right up there as well. So access to food banks or hampers, that was certainly a need that was exacerbated by the pandemic when a lot of folks were out of work and as a lot of people continue to struggle with poverty. Mental health and addictions, this can even be calling in to access counseling resources or know where to turn if you need some sort of mental health assistance. Housing at around 8%. This can be people looking for affordable housing options, finding a place to live, or people who are, experiencing homelessness and underhousing, being able to access a bed and a place to sleep for the night. And income support and financial assistance. We get a lot of calls about that. And those can be calls from folks who are struggling to access their benefits and might need to know where they can turn for that, or who might need immediate financial support too. But of course, the calls aren't limited to this. Lots of the folks who call 211 call to access training opportunities and skills development, Indigenous services and resources, or legal assistance as well, help accessing a community agency that might be able to provide those types of legal supports are important too. 211 Manitoba also has a website. And as I mentioned earlier, the bread and butter of 211 is really the phone number. But we know that phoning isn't always an option. For folks who are maybe living tragically in a domestic violence situation, it might not be adequate or appropriate to be able to make a call sometimes. Or you may just want the confidentiality if you're at home of being able to communicate virtually or look for resources online. There's a live chat option available if you do need to talk to somebody, one of these service navigators directly over text. And the website is really easy to navigate. So there's a screenshot of the website here on the display. When you arrive on the homepage, you see a list of topics, everything from housing and homelessness to mental health and addictions, support for seniors, and everything in between. And all it's a matter of doing is selecting a topic and entering your address and pressing search. And the reason that we have folks enter their address is it'll actually show the services that are available closest to home for them. And what's great about this website is it is actively updated and it is accurate. So every year, our team at 211 Manitoba goes through and contacts the records in the database. They want to make sure that all of the information is still up to date. And that's something that you don't find on search engines or on tools like Google. So while 211 Manitoba is run by United Way Winnipeg, we have some really great partnerships with other organizations to find innovative solutions to meet the standards of community members. So for example, we've worked with the Winnipeg Police Service to support frontline staff in using 211 as a resource for addressing those non-emergency community needs. We've collaborated with the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority and Manitoba Harvest to create a food referral process for Manitobans in need of groceries. And actually, since launching, 211's made 178 food hampers to Manitoba Harvest on behalf of the WRHA. We've partnered with Manitoba Start and Peace Geeks, a web developer, to create an app for newcomers in Manitoba to get information and access the services they need to have a successful start in their life in Manitoba. We partnered with the Downtown Community Safety Partnership Committee, and they can be the easy to remember front-facing phone number to access outreach services in downtown Winnipeg. And finally, we partnered with the provincial government and Transportation Options Network for Seniors, TONS. And we've done this to create a referral system for Manitobans in need of transportation to vaccine appointments as well. So for all of these services, there is always going to be somebody at 211 who will be able to help make the right referral. So 211 is used by so many different folks. From the context of the labor movement, shop stewards, union staff, and union reps use it fairly regularly. In the workplace, as we talked about earlier, there's so many stories about how it's been helpful to workers. Individuals and families who are facing challenges, not-for-profit agencies, government, and health services call just to be able to know, if it's not a service that they offer, to know where to redirect folks to. We get calls from first responders, frontline workers, social workers, and police, and also government planners, decision makers, and elected officials and their staff even use 211 to be able to recognize what resources already exist and where there may be gaps that they need to fill or where they can redirect folks. And 211 refers people for basic needs, work support and training, children, youth, and family support, physical and mental health resources, support for older adults and people living with disabilities, and access to services in non-official languages. And that can be language translation and interpretation. So even though, we talked about these stories earlier and some of the very common needs and phone calls that we get through 211, it can be everything and anything in between. Even if 211 isn't able to help, they likely will know where to direct you and how to get in touch with the right people.